Okay, I need some children to be my volunteers. I have some bubbles here. Just come on up. I need your help. So whoever wants to come up, kids, you can. Anyone can come up, any of the kids. Or adults, if you feel like coming up, if you're an adult. Stand right down here, okay? And face me. All the way down, right there. Keep going down. All right. I got some bubbles here, okay? Now we hear in the first reading, vanity of vanity. Vanity means like breath or air or like vapor. You blow it, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Now I want to see if any of you can catch I'm gonna blow some bubbles over you, and I want you to try to catch it, okay? And then you're gonna when you catch the bubble, you're gonna show it to everybody else. All right, you guys ready? Catch it? It's harder than you thought? All right, show me your bubbles. Okay, let me see. Who's got bubbles? Let me see your bubble. Show it to everybody. What happened to them? They popped, and they're gone? You guys disappointed? I would be too if I were you. All right, you can go sit down. Thank you for your help. Well, that's life. That's it. Vanity of vanity, says Koheleth. And then we hear in the gospel, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you die. Koheleth in Ecclesiastes this morning is talking about life. And he's talking about the disappointment in life, as is Jesus, that we can't really keep anything. And just like these children playing with the bubbles and trying to catch the bubbles, one of them said, "This is really hard." And it's really hard for us in life because we can't keep the bubbles. And in our lives, those things that we want to reach out and we want to hold and we want to grasp and keep, sooner or later, they're gone. It pops. Life pops its bubble on us. Well, what happens when we have the bubble pop? It's at those moments, actually, that we come to this reality of either despair, where we really give up on life and we think there is no God. Like I've seen kids with bubbles before, and sometimes they cry because they can't keep the bubble. They get really upset. And Koheleth is saying that that's what life is. Life is like bubbles. They're beautiful, you blow them, but you can't keep them. You try to grasp them, and the moment you touch that bubble, boom, it breaks, right? In our lives, when the bubble breaks, when we lose something that we've tried to have, and if you think about it like the midlife crisis, so a guy who thinks he's got it all. He's got a good job, he's got a good car, he's got a good family, and all of a sudden the bubble pops and he realizes that all of this is not enough. It could be times in our lives where we lose something that we really cared about. So maybe it's a project that we've been working on, or a bid that we had, or maybe you lose a job. Or maybe your body begins to be like that bubble and it starts popping and disappointing you all over the place. Maybe you've lost a loved one and their life for you at some time was like this beautiful bubble, and then all of a sudden, pop, they're gone. Well, Ecclesiastes is a whole book of this despair. talks about despair the entire book. There's actually no redemption in the book of Ecclesiastes. It's like a really bad TV series like Breaking Bad or something like that, where there's no redemption, or Sopranos. It's like just all bad. But when we see that, it helps us realize how life can be so fleeting. But we hear in the gospel that Jesus is telling us that we can't store up things on earth. You know, so the rich man who had an abundant harvest built these grains, built this barn to hold his grain. He expanded it, and he said, "Now I shall eat, drink, and be merry." And then Jesus, of course, says for him, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded of you." You know, there's that phrase, you can't take it with you, right? So we can't take the things of this earth to heaven. And sometimes we get too attached to things. Our things in our lives can actually pull our focus away from God. But the good news is, when the bubble pops and we have that sense of the futility of life, that's the time where faith takes place in us. That's the time where the virtue of hope comes into us. Because when the bubble pops, we either have a tendency to despair, or it can become a time of maturing and growing in our faith. So I just want you to realize if there's any moments in your life right now where it seems like the bubble has popped. You didn't get the dream that you wanted. You didn't get the life that you wanted. You've lost somebody or something. It's actually okay. It's actually good that the bubble pops, because it helps us to realize that the things of this earth are passing. But God and our relationship with God never pops. That bubble remains intact. And so we can come here today with great hope, with great faith, and move from a kind of a first naivete about the world and about God. I think it's good at every point in our lives that we have a moment for us where the bubble pops, because that's when we're called to go to that next level of faith. That's when we're called to go to that next level of hope. And that's what we celebrate today, these sacred mysteries. When Jesus suffered and died on the cross, for many of his faithful, the bubble popped. He died. And what they didn't realize is that he had something great in store for them, that he would rise from the dead, and that he also wanted us to share in his resurrection. And so when our bubbles pop, our faith and our hope increase.